Broward's condo market just dropped a bomb. Not only are sales down over 16% year over year, but we're also seeing an 11% price correction in just 4 months. And if that's not enough, sellers are now cutting more than they ever have in over a decade just to move a unit. What's up, y'all? Jake Fletcher here, your Greater Miami and Broward real estate expert, ready to help you out at the drop of a hat. And if you're shopping for a condo or a townhome in Broward County right now, this update is absolutely packed, from inventory shifts to price drops to one stat that literally just broke a 10-year record. We are going to walk through all of it today, right now on this video. And if you want to talk through how this affects your personal situation and your buying power, then hit the link in the description down below to book a call with me or reach out to me directly at all of my contact info down there in the description, okay? So let's kick it off right now with demand. We got number of sales and then closed price to original price ratio, because it's clearly softening a lot, as you can see by, by that graph right there. Now, we saw 978 condo and townhome sales in the month of August in Broward, a 9.1% drop from the month before and down 16.3% year over year. So looking at the number of sales there in the green line, we see that 9.1% drop in 1 month, and then going back to a whole entire year ago was back over here, and we're down 16.3% since then. So that's a clear sign that buyer activity has thinned out and sellers are feeling it, dog. Don't ask them if they're okay. The closed price to original price ratio is next. What is that, Jake? Well, it's just basically taking an average across the whole market and expressing it as a percentage based on how far did the seller have to reduce their price from their original list price to close on that unit, okay? So if it was listed for $100 grand and it sold for $93,000, that's a 93% closed price to original price ratio. So the closed price to original price ratio just hit 91%. That is the lowest level in over a decade. Ladies and gentlemen, can we get an applause for all of the buyers out there? Because that is literally the lowest number in MLS Matrix entire history, which goes back 10 years. That means that sellers are slashing prices like they haven't, done before. Like we haven't seen before, just to get offers, just to close a deal. And, that's pretty incredible. So, record-breaking news on this month's update for Broward condos. Now, moving it on to the supply side of things, we got active listings in the green line there, and then months of inventory in the blue line. So on the supply side of things, active listings dropped 3.9% month over month and down to 11,917. So while new inventory isn't flooding in, we're still sitting 15% higher than this time last year. So we still have a lot of inventory compared to last year over here, but that's starting to go down. It may not be long before we hit the levels of inventory that we were at last year, because, look at that. It looks like the top of Mount Everest, and then it's just going on down from there. So, even with the small dip in active listings, we're locked in right now at 12 months of inventory, as you can see in the blue line. What is months of inventory? All that means is if no new listings came on the market, how long would it take to sell the existing supply? So 12 months is the answer to that as of right now. It is squarely in deep buyer's market territory. Not as much as Miami-Dade, though, where we have 15 months of inventory. Miami-Dade's like Mariana's Trench of deep buyer's territory. Broward's not far behind at 12 months of inventory, and it's now been almost a full 2 years since Broward condos and townhomes were in a seller's market. So you can see where it goes below 6 months of inventory down here, that's been almost 2 years since then, okay? As you might know, less than 6 months of inventory is considered a seller's market because it favors sellers. 6 months is considered a balanced market, and then above 6 months is considered a buyer's market because the buyers got the leverage, and you guys have had, the leverage over the last 2 years, right? And you're pretty much at the top of the leverage that you've had in those couple years, right? We had a second where we got up to 15, almost 16, but that was honestly at the in the holiday season, this past holidays, and sales tend to really slow down during that time. Actually, if we go back to our sales over here and we look at that time, you can see, well, sales have been dropping off a cliff, but during January you see that they actually really hit a trough during that time right there. So pretty interesting. Next up, we're going to talk about churn. And we have a number of expired listings and then the number of new listings. So new listings came in at just 2,195. That is the blue line there. Slightly up, but it's actually low, a pretty low number for the third month in a row, okay? And we're actually also down 11.3% year over year. So looking at, over here would be 11.3% higher than what we're at now, okay? So new listings, sellers are holding back. A lot of people are concerned about rates. They're still pretty high, and we're expecting them to be lowered soon. At least that's the news on the street. And if rates come down, then that could bring a lot of buyers back into the market because buyers have more purchasing power. And also, too, a lot of the expired properties that just aren't going back on the market, okay? So expired listings dipped slightly to 2,395, just about even with last year. So even though some properties are coming off the market, and not relisting, most are still lingering until prices get more realistic, okay? So it's again a buyer's market like nobody's business out there. Now, here's where it gets really wild, guys. Let's look at the next graph here. Days on market and then median sale price, the green and blue lines respectively. Check out these days on market, guys. 136 days on market, up from 128 in July, and 43% slower than last year. So compared to over here last year, that's a 43% slowdown since that time. So homes are they're chilling, man. They're sitting out on the market for months now, okay? 136 days. That's over 4 months that you can expect for your property to sit on the market, your Broward condo or townhome to sit on the market before it gets sold, okay? So that's a long time. And now here is the biggest shocker of all. All right, you guys ready for this one? You might already see it in the blue line there. Median sale price dropped from $267,500 in July to $249,000 in August. That is a 6.9% drop in just 30 days, okay? That's a huge, gigantic, colossal drop for only 30 days of market activity, and it brings the total correction since April down 11.1%, okay? So if you look up here, since April, we were at 11.1% higher than what we're at now, right? So let that sink in. We've lost over 10% in value in just 4 months, okay? So if that continues, we could see a total of 40% over year over year from April, okay? So what do we make of this, guys? Well, prices are falling fast, sellers are cutting hard, buyers hold all of the cards right now as if they're some type of Vegas dealer at the blackjack table as far as the Broward condo market and really the single family homes, and Miami-Dade, Palm Beach County, the whole state of Florida, buyers are in control right now. And if you've been waiting on the sidelines, honestly, this could be your window. If you need to buy, especially, it's a great time to negotiate. You may think that, hey, you just told me prices dropped 10% in 4 months, so maybe I should wait. That might be the case. Keep in mind, though, some people have to buy, okay? So if you're in that camp of have to buy or would like to buy or would like to get a good deal on something, right now is your window. Like, never before really in the last, recent years. Okay. And if we continue to see prices drop off a cliff like that, well, by the time you get, pre-approved and search the market and see what's out there and, go through to showings and everything, and we start negotiating, putting offers out there, getting aggressive with our offers, which is something I love to do, then, we can definitely get a great deal on a condo in Broward County right now, and Miami-Dade and Palm Beach County. I service the Tri-County area, guys, so reach out to me and let's talk about how to navigate this market in a way that benefits you very strongly, okay? And if that's something that you like, if you appreciate that, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the, ring the notification bell, and I appreciate all of that because it helps me to grow the channel, lets me know that I'm doing a good job and that I should keep bringing these videos to you guys. So I really appreciate that. And drop a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think that the market is going to continue correcting? Do you think that we're going to see rates drop in September and then November and then see buyer demand flood back into the market? What do you guys think we're going to be seeing out there? Price-wise, inventory-wise, and all of the above. Would love to hear from you. Jake Fletcher here with the Fletcher Group at eXp Realty, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.